Working art. James was very excited one evening. Sir Topham Hatt has given me Gordon's Express tomorrow, he boasted loudly at the junction. Really? Thomas said in a bored voice. That's nice. Yes, he knows that Gordon simply isn't up to the task of early morning trains, unlike me. Bright and early before the dawn chorus. The trucks in the yard wake up earlier than you do. Anyway, Thomas continued, you're only taking the express because the Fat Controller wants Gordon and me on the new poster. We'll be representing the whole railway. His signal dropped, and the tank engine puffed away, leaving a very deflated James behind. The next morning, a loud whistle cut through the yard as Thomas backed down next to Gordon. It woke James with a start. Bad luck, James, Thomas tutted. That was the sound of the dawn chorus. You should have been awake before then. Calm down, Gordon said as Thomas backed down next to him. Get in position. The artist is here now. Gordon was right. A smart-looking lady arrived with a sketchbook, a stand, and a stool to sit on. James perked up at once when the artist sat down in front of the engines. Sidling out the sheds, he tried to pose himself next to Gordon. I'm too good not to be in the poster, he thought to himself. The artist, however, simply ignored James. She was only interested in Thomas and Gordon. Come along, James, the driver called. Can't you see I'm posing? She's not interested in you, the driver laughed. Now show a wheel. Your passengers are waiting. Or don't you want the express today? Reluctantly, James steamed away, accidentally blowing off steam in Gordon's direction. Watch it, the big engine called. This gave James an idea. This will get their attention. Soon enough, James was ready to leave. The guard waved his flag, and with an awful noise, James whistled and snorted out of the station. His bark echoed across the yard, and the carriages followed smoothly. But the artist took no notice. James sulked all the way to the other end of the line. When he returned, he was amazed to find the artist was still there. She had moved her chair and was taking multiple sketches. James simmered. He was thinking of another plan. Excuse me, driver, the red engine asked as innocently as possible. Can we stop by the shed soon? Another attempt to bother that artist, is it? Of course not, I just need a drink after such a long trip. Its driver was skeptical, but agreed. Meanwhile, Thomas was getting restless. He had hoped this would be quicker and was missing his branch line. Without thinking, he let off steam, but immediately went red when he realised what had happened. Oh, look what you've done! My sketchbook is all wet, the artist cried. I'm very sorry, Thomas quickly apologised. Gordon just rolled his eyes. Not to worry, the artist replied calmly. I'll see if the station has any spare paper. And she ran off to check. Well done, little Thomas, Gordon said sarcastically. I didn't want to take trains today anyway. Hey, I'm not happy about this either. It was a mistake, Thomas argued. Soon both Gordon and Thomas began bickering. Unbeknownst to anyone, James was quietly rolling into the yard. The signalman couldn't see the artist anywhere, and so had set him onto the wrong line. Neither Gordon, Thomas, the driver, fireman, or the signalman noticed it in time, and before anyone could say anything, there came a splintering crash. The Fat Controller was walking the artist back to the yard. I'm terribly sorry about this, Miss Wright. We don't have any more paper in the station, but I do have this camera you could borrow, and, oh, for pity's sake. Everyone went silent as all eyes were on James. He'd crushed the artist's chair with his tender, and now there was nothing left. Well, James, the Fat Controller boomed, I knew you might try something like this to get in the poster, but property damage is not what I expected of you. No, sir. Sorry, sir. Don't apologise to me. It's Miss Wright you should be saying sorry to. Sorry, Miss Wright. I'm very sorry about your chair. Miss Wright frowned. Don't fret too much about it. However, your controllers kindly lent me a camera so I can get the right angle and take the pictures home with me. James felt a little less embarrassed now. Oh, well, that's good. Unfortunately, she continued, without a chair, I won't be able to get certain angles I was hoping for. She then turned and whispered something to the fat controller. The two looked at James and smiled. And done, she said as she took a last picture. Thank you, James. You're a very good chair to sit on. The red engine went like his paintwork and didn't say a word. Thomas, however, wasn't short of words. You really are an artist, decided James. Maybe if she runs out, Miss Wright can steal some of your paint for the poster. James was indignant and would have whooshed Thomas, but he knew better than to do that. The fat controller sent James to shunt the yard for the rest of the day as punishment. He sulked all day and was bitter, even for a long time afterward. When the poster finally came out, it was a beautiful mix of colours, and with Gordon and Thomas smiling proudly in the middle. It is nice, I suppose, James said under his breath. But at the next station, the station master came up to him and showed him another poster. In the background, you could see a bright red engine pulling coaches. That's me, he beamed. I knew I was good enough for a poster. James soon forgot to be embarrassed, and for several weeks ahead, puffed about with a permanent smile on his smokebox.